Thank you, Madam Chairman. Ms. Sohn, welcome. We appreciate that you're coming back today. You know, you and I have had so many conversations through the year. I think we know our positions on retrans and IP law, some of those things. I do want to get to a couple of things. Let me ask you this. Are you an activist, yes or no?
I'm an advocate.
An advocate, okay. You classify yourself as a public interest advocate, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what is the difference between the two terms, advocate and activist?
You know, activists, I'm not sure there is that much of a difference. I mean, I work to ensure that the public is educated on communications and technology policy issues. I mean, you know, people treat the word activist as if it's something bad. I don't think it's bad, but I don't consider myself a public activist. I consider myself a public advocate.
Okay. So as your term you used earlier, it's a distinction without a difference, probably. Okay, let me ask if you agree with the following actions, because these are actions that were carried out by organizations that you have both praised and have been on the record of donating to in the past. So I think this is a good way to kind of see where you stand on with some of these things. Okay. One of the organizations advocated sending a mob to the home of an FCC chairman to pressure him to act on net neutrality. You yourself were interviewed about your role in this event.
So I think you're referring to the time that a group laid down in front of Chairman Wheeler's car and wouldn't let him come to work. I obviously did not support that. And in fact, I made the phone call, and I did this many times at the FCC when the activists would flood our email boxes with emails, like thousands of them. I would get a call from Ruth Milkman, the chief of staff, saying, make it stop, and I made it stop. So I did not support, certainly not support that.
Deeply intertwined with these organizations.
No, I would say I was the outreach coordinator for Chairman Wheeler, so it was my job to tell these people to make it stop, and I did.
To lay off, okay. Another organization you were involved with encouraged people to threaten violence against an FCC chairman, his staff, and his family due to his views on net neutrality.
What group is that, Senator Blackburn?
This is one of the groups, I'm not sure if it was Fight for the Future or Free Press. I'll have to get that. But
okay, I am no way affiliated with those groups. Do I make small contributions at the end of the year because we work together on some issues? Sure. That doesn't mean I approve of everything they do. And in fact, over the years, and particularly on net neutrality, we've had very, very serious disagreements because I've been willing to find consensus with the other side.
Well, another group put up billboards and public materials calling Senator Sinema, who's a member of this committee, a telecom shill and corrupt. Another calling for Senator Cantwell to be removed from her position as chair of this committee because she is, as a letter to Leader Schumer says, pandering to the broadcast and telecom industry. Another, the list goes on and on. So what I want to know is, will you publicly disavow these organizations like Fight for the Future and Free Press who spearheaded these efforts?
Well, I have publicly already, let's put it this way, criticized, well, I don't think I've publicly criticized, I certainly have criticized those tactics. I don't agree with those tactics. I've told them so. But the organizations, look, we all are affiliated with organizations that do things that we don't like. And the way that I usually deal with it is by talking to those folks personally.
My time's running out. It is of concern to me because you have tweeted support for these groups. You have made donations to these groups. And then you have been a public interest advocate for the issues. You share the sentiment that these groups are pushing forward because you have advocated for that. So being impartial as a commissioner, separating yourself, there's been a lot of discussion about recusal today. These are things that people are, and rightfully so, we are all very concerned about this. You've taken very pointed positions toward broadband carriers, including calling some of their actions cruel and tone deaf. You've said that repeal of net neutrality would encourage them to, and I'm quoting you, rip consumers off at will, end quote. So do you think you can be unbiased when you are working with these companies? Because while you are recused on media issues, it seems like you can't be impartial when it comes to the other issues, and this is my concern.
I understand, Senator, and let me assure you that whatever I may have said as a public advocate will have no bearing on how I look at the record and make decisions. This is the thing about being at the FCC, as you well know. Under the Administrative Procedure Act, you have to look at the totality of the record and make a decision based on that record. So what I said in my previous job, just like Chairman Pai didn't impact him on his work with Verizon, my work with public knowledge, my work with Georgetown, my work with Benton is not going to impact how I look at and balance the record of a proceeding.